we had an agent out there helping us set up our documents, and he said to me, "You're already selling here in the States." I said, "No, we're not." He says, "Yeah, your vitamins are selling on Amazon." I said, "What do you mean?" He sends me the link, and they're our Fade Fit snacks, our same packaging, but with a different logo. It's got the.
So it wasn't that someone was shipping from Dubai.
It was a counterfeit product. They were counterfeiting our vitamins. So it was Fade Fit by, I forget what the company's name is. It's completely.
They had the same logo, same.
Exactly the same packaging.
Our guest today has been the voice of Dubai's mornings for the past 18 years. Kris Fade arrived in Dubai in 2007 to help launch Virgin Radio, then a fresh new brand on Dubai's radio soundscape. Now Virgin is, of course, an institution, and so is Kris, who has transcended the radio waves to launch a highly successful business, with his health food brand FadeFit now sold in 6 countries. FadeFit mirrors Kris's own story, a man who through hard work and determination has built himself up and his company to become an international fixture. Hello and welcome to Homegrown DXB, the show taking you inside the lives of the people changing yours right here in the UAE. I'm your host, Amar Butli. And I'm delighted to have with me today a name and a voice in these little introduction, Kris Fade, the founder of FadeFit, and of course, many other successful business endeavors. Kris, thank you so much for joining us.
A pleasure to be here, man. Thank you so much as well.
Well, it's great to have you. And I do want to spend today focusing on FadeFit, on that business, because that's sort of what we talk about here on Homegrown. These businesses that were built here in Dubai, have grown, have gone international. But I want to start first with a little bit of your own personal journey. Your initial arrival in Dubai, I think, was in 2007 to help set up Virgin Radio.
Yep.
So how did that come about? How did the opportunity happen for you back in Australia? And what were your first both expectations and impressions when you arrived?
Yeah, so I moved to Dubai in 2007. It was never on my cards. I grew up in Sydney, Australia. I'm Lebanese, but you know, my parents migrated to Australia, I think, in the 70s because of the war, and I was born and raised there. And when the opportunity came up to move to Dubai, and it's crazy, I was just talking to a friend about this, there wasn't a lot of info. It was before Instagram, it was before Facebook had kind of just launched, and there wasn't any info on Dubai. I remember going to Wikipedia and Googling or Wikipediaing like Dubai, and I remember a picture of the Burj Khalifa, which was a quarter built, was the photo, and they maybe had 3 paragraphs of what Dubai was about. And I got an opportunity to come and help set up Virgin Radio's first ever radio station in the Middle East. I was 26. At the time, I was kind of single, and I really had no reason to be in Australia. So I told mum and dad, I'm going to pack my bags up and go to this city, Dubai, and see if I can, achieve some, different dreams and get worldly experience and become more cultured. And 2007 was that day that I moved out in November 2007. And again, I landed. My first impressions were, I was scared. I'd say I'm probably scared. It was the first time I was leaving my family, moving to a foreign city where I didn't know anyone, didn't have a lot of money. So I remember mum and dad gave me a bit of cash and I had a little bit of saved up, but I didn't have a lot. And my first impressions were like, I remember they put me in a hotel near Wafi. I remember looking out the window and seeing the pyramid of Wafi and going, whoa, that's super cool. And yeah, it was different. And then we came to the radio studios for the first time, which was very close to where we're filming right now. And it was an old radio studio. I mean, it was probably the oldest radio studio I'd ever been in.
So how did it compare to the ones you'd been in Australia?
It's like getting into a brand new BMW in Australia, and then I came here and I felt like I was in like a 1976 Ford,
A classic.
A classic. It really was a classic. It was, but yeah, it didn't put me off, but I was a little bit like, whoa, what have I signed up for here? Remember I was 26, I didn't know anyone, and I thought, let's see how we go. But then that actually taught me something really cool. It doesn't matter what studio we were broadcasting from, how old it was more about like what we were creating, what was coming out of the speakers, and what came out of the speakers was something world class. So we could have been in one of the you know, I'm not going to say worst studios in the world, but we could have been in a college student radio station feel, but we were putting out world-class radio. We only were there for 18 months before we did get moved to a beautiful brand new studio, which made me feel more at home. But yeah, the opportunity came out of nowhere. I was doing radio in Australia, and you know, and I got that opportunity. I thought to myself, let's give this a go. And again, it's been 18 years now. I called Dubai home, and it truly is home. People always say to me, do you want to go back to Australia and live? And I'm like, I don't think so. I want to go back to Australia and I want to spend some time there, but I think Dubai will always be home for me.
When do you think you started feeling comfortable? Maybe not when it was home, but like when did that transition happen between the initial, okay, this is interesting, this is different, to you feeling like, no, actually, this is the right place to be?
Well, the moment that I really felt like I was going to call Dubai home forever was COVID. And that was, 14 years into my Dubai journey. That was when people used to ask me, would you go back to Australia before COVID to live? And I'd always be like, you never know, yeah, maybe. But after COVID, it was pretty much like, this is home. It's when I bought my home here. So when I bought my home just after COVID. And the reason why was the way that this country acted during that time really gave me, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to use the word support, but it gave me, I guess, the confidence in that not only do the UAE look after their quote unquote own people, but they'll look after everyone. And that was really important. And at the same time, unfortunately, Australia, they dealt with COVID in a certain way where I actually couldn't get back to my own country. I mean, I had to quarantine for 4 weeks, and it was a real hard thing to get, I got my kids and I didn't know what to do. When we were here, they were like, hey, we've got everything covered. This is what you can do if you want to take this. This is what you do. This is where we go. These are the rules. And that was the first time that I was like, this really, truly does feel like home, and I don't need to go back to Australia right now. And then straight after COVID, I started looking for a house. I'd never bought a home here. I was always renting for 15 years, and I went out and bought a home. And since then, I bought a bunch of property in Dubai and the UAE, to tell you the truth.
The real estate industry thanks you.
Yeah, true. No, but like I bought in Ras Al Khaimah, I bought in Abu Dhabi, I bought in Dubai. Like I truly believe that this country is the land of opportunity, and I can only see it doing this, and there's always people like going, oh, it's the bubble, it's going to burst. Oh, man, I've been hearing that for 18 years. And the biggest thing that I always say now is when I first moved to Dubai in 2007, all my friends and family and why are you moving to Dubai for? Like, why are you going to Dubai? Here we are in 2025, and the question that they ask me is, can you get me a job in Dubai? Is there any opportunities there? And that shows you how much we have grown as a country and as a city.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel very much the same way, and we're happy to have you, Kris, obviously.
Thank you.
In terms of, I guess, your own aspirations of going back again, thinking about even before you started working radio, when you were growing up, did you always imagine yourself as an entertainer? Was that something that you always wanted to do? Was it always radio in particular? What did you imagine yourself doing?
I never thought I'd be this ever in my life. I was a pretty shy kid. If you speak to my parents, they told me I was a shy kid.
It's hard to imagine now.
Man, I was a shy kid. I had a speech impediment. I spoke with a lisp. I really did. And I didn't talk a lot because I didn't want to, you heard this when I was talking. So, yeah, no, I was a pretty shy kid. I never thought I'd do it. I failed school, went 39 out of 100, didn't go to college, couldn't get into college. Parents wanted me to repeat school to go to college. I didn't want to do it. I was lost. Growing up as a kid, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to be until I was 24 years old. I accidentally fell into radio.
How did you accidentally fall into radio?
I mean, from the time I left school at the age of 17, 18 till 24, I was doing everything from washing cars to selling clothes to a barista, working at cafe. I was just doing odd jobs just to make money. But life was great. I wasn't earning a lot, but I was living in a little studio apartment on my own and having a great time of life. That's what you do. And it wasn't until I was working as a salesman selling background music for elevators and cafes and restaurants, the music that you hear when you walk in. My job was to go with like CDs and be going like just a salesman. And eventually the girl, her name's Allison, and I still want to talk to her one day. I haven't spoken to her in probably 30 years. But she pulled me aside one day. She was the boss of the company. She said, I don't think this job's for you. I really don't think it's for you. She goes, I was just driving to work and I heard that the local radio station were looking for people to work on their promotional team. Drive the promotional car across the streets of Sydney and give away cans of soda and chips and all that. She goes, I think you should apply for it. And I remember going, what, do you not think I'm doing a good job here? She's like, you're doing a good job, but I don't believe this job's for you. And so I applied for the job. And it was a competition. There were like 20 people applied for it, and we had to do stunts, and we had to really show how much we wanted the job. And that's how I got into radio. I didn't win the competition, but I stayed in contact with the team after the competition was done. The girl that won the competition didn't want to do the job anymore, so they eventually contacted me and said, hey, do you want to drive our promotional car around Sydney and give away chips and sodas? And, I think it paid like $7 an hour, something really minimal, but I did that for 2 years, but within that 2 years, I had access to the radio studios. So I used to buzz myself up and just talk to the radio presenters there and started to learn the art of radio. And that's when I was like, wow, this is a pretty cool job. I want to do this one day. And then at the age of, 24, I got my first on-air radio gig. And it was a horrible shift, like midnight till 5 a.m. in the morning, but you took what you could get. And I worked for free. I didn't get paid for those radio gigs. I just worked for free, but it was on air. I learned the art of radio, and after 2.5 years of doing it, I moved here.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. I had no idea you had a speech impediment at any point.
Yeah.
Again, you would never know now, right?
No, I got out of it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes on the radio it still comes out.
Really? I have to listen out for it now?
And Rossi and Prudy, they know about it, so they always like, it came out. They make fun of it.
It's nice that they're supportive.
Yeah. It's like being back at school.
I guess I feel like I maybe have an idea what the answer is, but speaking of things that you maybe didn't imagine. I mean, obviously, you're now a very, very successful radio presenter, personality, also a very successful businessman. Was business something you thought about? Owning your own company? Again, was that something you ever imagined at any point, maybe even up to radio or maybe post radio when you arrived here? Were you looking for business opportunities? Or did it also sort of just come together?
I remember when I moved to Dubai, my dream was to own a Hummer.
Oh, just to own a Humvee. Okay.
That's all I wanted. That was like, I'm going to get a Hummer one day. I remember that's all I wanted to do. And I bought two.
I was going to say, did you
I did.
Hummer?
I
Okay,
bought
good,
two,
good.
and now
I'm happy for you.
My cars I feel like I've got higher expectations than a Hummer. No disrespect to Hummer. I love them still. I don't know. I don't think so. But when I was working in cafes at the age of 23, I worked in a cafe for a good two or 3 years, and I became like the manager. There was an opportunity for me at the age of 23, 24. The owners wanted to sell. And they discussed with me, would I be interested in buying their business? And now buying their business wasn't going to be too expensive. You were basically just taking the debt of what they had inherited or what they put together, and I was just going to keep running the business and pay that debt off and hopefully make money in the interim. And at that time is when, kind of the same time, that radio came into my life. Because I'm from working in a cafe, I was selling the music, and I was just doing everything I possibly could just to make bank, right? So there was a moment where I thought, and I remember going, hey, I'd like to own a cafe. I could do this, run my own business. I was already doing the rosters. I was already paying all the staff at that age, and I was 23. It was still a big responsibility, and I was paying the electricity bills, and I was managing the business basically. And so there was a moment where I was like, hey, I could do this. I'd like to own my own business. But I never did. I ended up doing the radio side of things. So when I landed here in this city, I didn't have this vision of creating, a Fade Fit or a number of other businesses that I'm involved in. It was more about, I'm here to do radio, and I'm here to do the best radio show that I could possibly do, and I'm here to build the best radio station that I possibly could build. But, there might be something in me. I don't know. My dad was a car salesman, so I probably inherited something there with him. My mum used to sell clothes as well. She was we always said that mum could sell sand to the Arabs in Australia. Like,
What made her such a good salesman?
I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's the personality. I don't know what makes you a good. I really don't know.
You still don't know what makes you a good salesman?
I don't know. I think being Lebanese helps. I feel like we can sell anything.
You guys are pretty prolific.
We're pretty good. And no matter where you go around the world, you'll find someone who's Lebanese and they're selling you something. So, I don't know. I think it's the upbringing. We had a pretty loud, funny family. We have a pretty loud, funny family. The loud uncles, the aunties. I don't know. There's something there. It's about being... it's being confident, I guess, somewhat as well, and being real and authentic. And radio is that. That's what makes a good presenter. That's what I always tell new presenters coming in: be real and authentic. Be you. And I feel like as a businessman, that's what you want to do. If you're building a company, you want to be real and authentic. If you're going to lie, you're not going to go anywhere.
Well, I mean, I think that's a great point to continue on for Fade Fit, because you started, again, correct me if I'm wrong, your sort of fitness journey. This is before the company, right? In 2014, roughly. Yeah. You sort of made this commitment to get back into shape. You had your hashtag Fade Fit. That's where that comes from, right? From the hashtag.
100%.
And at the time, you were not in the best shape.
Horrible.
Certainly not the shape you're in right now.
Yeah.
What motivated you to do that, and what motivated you to do that in a very public setting, like to have people see, where you were, go with you on that journey, being very vulnerable in some ways, to say, look, this is how out of shape I am, and I'm going to do something about it. Yeah. What was happening around the 2014 mark that made you take that decision?
Starts with a D. It's called a divorce.
I mean, that's a powerful motivator for a lot of things.
A lot of things. And, I think anyone that goes through a divorce, when you're leaving one relationship and you're now, quote unquote, on the market, you want to try to look as good as you possibly could. But saying that, it wasn't just the divorce. I knew I was unhealthy. I knew I was unfit. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. I was eating fast food on the way to work at 4:30 in the morning. Like, I was in horrible, horrible state of fitness or of health. I was depressed. I was suffering through anxiety, which I never knew what that was. I always say, like, when I was going through anxiety, I didn't know what it was.
As in you felt anxious, but you didn't realize that you actually were dealing with anxiety.
I didn't know what anxiety was. I never felt it in my life. I don't think we talked about it a lot. I don't know. I feel like we didn't talk about it as much as we do now in 2025 than we did in 2014. I don't know. I just remember feeling horrible.
Well, particularly for men, I feel like
we don't talk.
Anxiety is not a thing you
talk
about. Right?
Man, I don't feel good. So I was just feeling horrible. Then going through the divorce was another step just to bring those, like, whatever. It's a horrible feeling, And so that was the motivator for me. And when I went and saw a psychiatrist they medicated me with pills to make you feel better. And when I started taking them, I didn't really feel the effect. And I don't like taking pills. I mean, if you know me, my friends know me, I don't want to take a Panadol sometimes. I'd rather go.
I understand that. I avoid the doctor as well.
Yeah. I just don't want to I don't like to put things into my body that I'm unaware. I don't know. I'd like to be natural, right? And so I got to the point where I realized when I went to the gym or I went for a run, it made me feel fantastic. And I became addicted to that feeling. And I was going to the gym 2 to 3 times a day because every time I went to the gym, it gave me a high and it made me feel great for a couple of hours. And then slowly I would feel like back. So I'd go to the gym again or I'd go for a run again. I remember buying a bike and I was just cycling around the country. That's what I used to do. And that really kicked off my fitness journey. I started to drop a lot of weight and then I started eating cleaner. Because I'm like, wow, I'm gonna look after my body. I want to try to look after my body. I started doing, studies about like if processed food and sugars and how that can make you feel anxious. Because it's the chemicals that we're putting into our body. So I started just to eat a lot cleaner and training a lot more, and I started to lose a lot of weight. And my followers at the time were like, yo, we see what you're doing. Like, what are you doing? I used to get what started off as 1 or 2 messages a day. I was getting 20, 30, 40, 50 messages a day from people going, what are you doing? And so I started going to the gym and I was hashtagging myself, Fade Fit. It was just for me. It wasn't for anything else. And I used to reply to the DMs, and the DMs became so many that I'm like, whoa, there's way too many things happening here. People are going through what I'm going through. I want to share my experience. And so the conception of Fade Fit really it was a day of wellness that I put on at the Low Meridian here in Dubai. It was a free event, and it was just, myself, motivational speakers, nutritionists, trainers, doctors, and we got up on stage over a 6-hour period and we all told our stories. We had about 700 people there, and it was really a beautiful day of and that was the conception of what Fade Fit was, way before any of the snacks or what we do now. And then from there, that was my health transformation, and it's still been a roller coaster. There'll be moments in my life where I haven't been able to train because I've got so much work going on, or I just feel like I need a month off just to do whatever. And I'm all in or all out sometimes. So if I'm training and I'm fit, man, you're gonna see me 6 to 7 days a week just training. I'm eating so clean. But like if I give myself those 2 weeks, I will eat every burger under the sun. I will not train. I'm like all out. I've been able to, I guess, guide myself through those journeys a little bit more, so my roller coasters aren't as much. And I've been really consistent over the last, probably 18 months, really looking after myself. And, if I can help one person out, I feel good that I can do that,
So, I mean, that absolutely, I think, carries through to sort of your approach on a lot of things with Fade Fit, with the brand, with the business, right? Which is even now today, it feels very community focused.
Yep.
But then I guess next part of the journey would be you have this very organic sort of, community feedback, participation from people who are following you. You start doing events. When does that translate into the snacks, into Fade Fit actually launching as a company, as a brand in 2018?
Yep. It happened again. My kids were involved in this one. I was shopping and I was buying healthy food for myself. I wanted then my daughters to have that type of feel. And on the counters, when I was going through the shops, it was either really processed, sugary snacks, which were cheap. Great. They're cheap. You can afford them. Or if I wanted the healthier options, they were usually imported from Europe or the States or the UK, and they were expensive. And I thought, I'd like to create snacks that are healthy for my kids, that they could eat, that are affordable. And so that got me going. And then I end up
What year is this? Like 2016?
2017, I think. Yeah, 17, I think it was. Because we went from the idea to launch was really quick. I ended up talking to a friend of mine, Mustafa Koida, who has an organic milk company here, which he's also got a great journey to tell one day. And he introduced me to a few people that were creating snacks, and we just got into a room, we started discussing, and the next thing you know, we created kid snacks. Carrefour at the time, they said, hey, we want to launch this. Obviously, I had a big following, and I've got a great radio show, and I had my social media, so they wanted to jump behind it. And we launched these snacks in around 2018, and they were kid snacks, and they were a hit. They did really, really well. And anyone that knows FMCG, the food industry, it's very hard. It's a very hard industry to get into. It's very hard to sustain a business. But using the product, which was good, my branding and background and my experience in, I guess, creating a brand and marketing, plus my following and my network, it launched really well. And within 6 months, we started to produce snacks for all ages, because I started getting parents and adults and people going to the gym going, man, I'm eating your kid snacks and I feel weird. Like, they're in their little kid packets and they're like, I like them. Can you do something for us? And so then we created little protein balls and energy snacks for all ages. They were a hit. And now we've got, I think, 26 products on the shelves, from protein bars to nuts. We'll have beverages out real soon. And we've got our balls, and we're selling not only here across the UAE. Stats-wise, we're the number one sold snack made in the UAE, which is really, really cool.
I mean, obviously it's done remarkably well. You're in 6 countries now,
Yep.
if I have it correct. But is there anything that, looking back, you would do different in that first year when you launched?
Yeah, I probably, I believe you evolve when you make a product. You change the recipe over time. And I felt like the first products that we put out weren't great, looking back.
What about them?
They were really clean, but they were just really dry. And I think, like, if these for the kids, if you're trying to get your kid to eat healthier and you give them a snack that they don't like the taste of, they won't eat it again. And so, I think, 50% of kids like the snack, the other 50 were like, nah. And if you're a parent that doesn't want to help your kid out and eat healthier, they will just go back to their chocolate biscuit and give them the chocolate biscuit. There's no arguing. So I probably would have developed the snack that I have now. We're on a really good balance of being a healthier snack, but at the same time having a snack that tastes good, right? I always say that we're a stepping stone company. What does that mean? We're a business that, if you're having all the artificial sugars and the colors and all that, this is what you eat every day. And then on this side, you have the real healthy snacks, but they kind of taste like the packaging. We're here. Fade Fit's here. We're a stepping stone. I'd love you to go and eat
So
this
eventually you might get there?
stuff. You may get there. You may never get
Even
there.
though they won't buy Fade Fit at this
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. But the people that eat this are a very small minority of people. You know what I mean? They're the elite, the super ones, the ones that, super clean. A room out of 100 people, you probably get 4 or 5 people that do that. I want to go to the masses. I want to get the people that love the sugary stuff. They'll eat my snack and be like, hey, this actually gives me the fix. Like, where have I still got the bar? This bar.
You just keep that on you at all times?
I use this all the time. No, but this bar here, I don't know if you've ever tried it.
I know I have to. I'll be honest. I haven't had that one yet.
After
I've had your balls.
Okay, thank you. After we do this, you will eat this. This will give you the same feeling as a chocolate bar. I believe better. Okay. And that's what I want to be able to do. I want to give you that hit. Because when you just need that chocolate hit or that hit of a snack, that's what it's going to give you. And that's what we pride ourselves at Fade Fit. Our development, our R&D, we don't just put out a product for the sake of it. This was 18 months in development. We went back and forth with our manufacturer.
What is that R&D like? Like, what happens in that process?
Well, I would sit back, and I'm also a data guy, so I like to know what's selling now, who's selling what's the biggest selling snack. Like peanut butter is a huge snack. Majority of humans love peanut butter.
I love peanut butter.
You love peanut butter. I love peanut butter. The color yellow is what peanut butter kind of represents, that yellow orange. We love that as humans. So, I'm also a bit of a data guy, but, I would go back. I remember when our protein balls are fantastic, but there's only about 6 grams of protein in 2 balls, right? And I used to have a lot of guys, including myself. I love protein. I eat a lot of protein. And they're like, man, you got to get bigger protein stuff. 6 grams is nothing. And you're calling it a protein ball. And I'm like, you know what? They're right, in that respect, if you want the protein hit. So then I wanted to develop protein bars. And we went back with our manufacturer. I knew what I wanted. I knew what our macros wanted. I wanted to be over 20 grams of protein. I wanted to be under 1 gram of sugar, which was really important. I wanted our carbs to be fairly low. And I wanted it to taste good. And I didn't want it to have that protein taste. Sometimes when you have a protein bar, you're like, the initial bite is great, and then you've got this weird taste afterwards.
It's like metallic a little bit?
I don't know. I don't even know what it is. It just sits there. It can be kind of a metallic taste or a dry taste. So when we went with our manufacturer, they were the key things that I told them that I wanted it. And, the flavor-wise, it's a chocolate brownie. We have a bunch of other flavors. But, I remember their first ones that they brought through didn't look good. I felt like it didn't look like
the actual bar itself.
The bar didn't look good. It didn't look appetizing to me. You want it to be appetizing. When you open this bar, you'll look at it, you'll be like, okay, I'll eat that. It didn't sit right. Then when I had the bite, it tasted good, but it wasn't where I wanted it to be, And so we went back and forth. Even now, before I just did this podcast, I just tested 2 products that we're going to be releasing. And
can you tell us what they are?
Probably they're protein shakes. So it's a shake. And it was 2 different flavors, and they both were fantastic. If that's what I put out on the shelf, I would be happy with it. However, I just went back and said, can you increase the flavor by 5% on this one and decrease the flavor by about 8% on that one? And it's not just me. We have
How do you decide 8%?
I mean, in my head, I'm very numbered, as in numbers are because of radio, I don't know, everything's by seconds and minutes. So I'm always but it wasn't just me. I had my wife, Brianna, tried. I had our team that tried, and we all we go on our own, we try it. We don't do it together. And then we all come back and we show what we felt, I own a couple of fitness companies as well, so I have a lot of trainers that I can also sample our products to. And I came back, and that's what R&D is. I want, with these bars, I'm a partner in a company called Enhanced Fitness. We have over 200 trainers. So I got our prototype bars to all of our trainers. And I just said, try them. Tell me what you think. We gave them a little scorecard, and they write down the flavor, what they felt, what they think. And, we get all that data back. And interesting enough, you usually find a pattern. If something doesn't taste nice, you'll know that, 70 to 80% of people will answer the same question. They'll say it's not nice. You know that you don't want that out. You'll get rid of that, right? So that's what kind of R&D is for us,
So I guess when you're looking at that scalability and expansion, you're now in a situation where the company's doing very well domestically. And then in 2022, I think you launched in Saudi Arabia, and now you're in 6 different countries.
Yep.
Um, Again, well, what was the indicator to you that this was time to maybe look to new markets? How did you take that decision? And sort of what do you look at when you're going into new markets? Is it different? Is it a country by country basis? Is it just sort of a general policy or approach that you do when you're rolling things out?
So yeah, I wanted to make sure that we were ready to launch, because you can launch into different countries sometimes and fail real quickly, and it costs you a lot of money. So I wanted to make sure that we were ready. I felt like we had done a lot already in the UAE. We had established a great brand. Our brand equity was fantastic. People knew Fade Fit now, which was, when you think about it, it came from nowhere. It never existed, and now it exists, and people know our product, right? So I wanted to make sure that when we expanded across to other countries, that we were ready for it as a company. Selling snacks is all about volume. You need to sell millions to make money. Like, the margins on snacks are tiny, tiny. And that's why when I see startups getting into the snack industry, especially from this region, I'm always like, man, I hope they got a lot of money to burn.
You wouldn't recommend it?
Absolutely not. It's so difficult. So difficult. It's near impossible. Near impossible. Unless you got good money behind you.
And I guess good branding, which you had.
Good
right?
branding, but you got it, like, to be on a shelf. To go on a supermarket shelf is not free. It costs you to be on the shelf. If you don't sell, they just take you off. And you've paid them. And, if you can imagine, you create a snack and then everyone adds on. So what may cost, let's put this hypothetically numbered, right? Let's say it costs you $1 to make the snack, right? It costs me $1 to make the snack. And then I sell it to our distributor. Our distributor takes it for $2, right? I make $1, right? Our distributor sells it to a supermarket for $4. Distributor makes $2. The supermarket sells it for $10. They make $6 on it, right? You're at the other end of the chain, you know what I mean? And so this is how it works in anything, not just snacks, sodas, cereals. It's how it works. It's what the business is. So for me to make money out of Fade Fit, I'm getting $1 for every snack. I've got to sell millions of them to really make it. Because remember, out of that $1, I've got to pay salaries. I've got to pay my taxes now. I've got to pay branding, marketing. I've got to do that all out of that money. So it's a really hard business to get to be a part of.
So how do you mitigate that risk then when you go into new territory? I mean, because in the UAE, you obviously you had your radio show, you had your brand, you had your following, and I imagine you have that across the Middle East, but I imagine it's stronger here, right?
100%. It's a lot stronger here. It's easier for me to play here in the UAE, 100%. We look for good distributors, good partners, people that believe in the product. If you have someone that believes in your product, it's a lot easier for you to win. So we look for the right partners. And in Saudi, we found a great distributor by Tang Golf, and they saw our vision. They were already distributing some of the biggest protein snack companies already from international brands, so they already know the market, and that helps, and the likes of, we're in every Starbucks here in the UAE, and now we're in every Starbucks in Saudi. That helps as well from a branding point of view, because so many people are in and out of those stores. They discover this snack, and then they go to the supermarket and they see us in there. But it's definitely a risk. I have to invest money when I do this. You have to invest your money, and you invest it knowing that, there's a way that it may actually not happen. Like, you may lose that money. It may just go. And many businesses go through that. I know so many companies, friends who own businesses, who have expanded in different territories, including the States. America's the real big one. If you make it, but if you don't, it takes everything away from you really quickly.
Would you ever consider?
100% I would. Yeah, we just got FDA approval on all our snacks. We'll launch online in America first, online. There's less risk.
So you have a warehouse and you ship people's houses?
Yep, we'll ship the products from here. We'll send them to the States. We'll have a warehouse holding it with distribution ready to go. We'll probably only start in California to begin with, one territory, one state, and we'll see how we go. And, if it starts to pick up and we're moving product by product, we'll then look at manufacturing our products in the States, because it will be quicker, it will be cheaper. So that's something that we'll look at. But crazy enough, when we were setting up, we had an agent out there helping us set up our documents, and he said to me, "You're already selling here in the States." I said, "No, we're not." He says, "Yeah, your vitamins are selling on Amazon." I said, "What do you mean?" He sends me the link, and they're our Fade Fit snacks, our same packaging, but with a different logo. It's got the.
So it wasn't that someone was shipping from Dubai.
It was a counterfeit product. They were counterfeiting our vitamins. So it was Fade Fit by, I forget what the company's name is. It's completely.
They had the same logo, same.
Exactly the same packaging. And
what do you do about something?
I ordered it. So I had my brother-in-law that lives in the States. I said, "Can you order these?" He ordered them. They came through. I was in the States a month later. I picked them up. We brought them back here, took them for lab testing. They were our apple cider vinegar gummies. There was nothing in them. They were just gummies, like sugary gummies. There was no vitamins in them, which was kind of scary because they were just selling products that were just sugary gummies as Fade Fit apple cider.
Well, obviously it's terrible for the brand. I guess it's flattering that you've reached a scale where people want to counterfeit your
product. Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, that's pretty cool. They're counterfeiting us. But at the same time, you're like, wow, that's scary. It actually made me very wary of what I buy online now. We contacted Amazon. I contacted them locally here and then internationally, and we end up bringing them down. But it will happen again because you can't shut these people. They'll bring it down. They'll just go again, you know. It was before we had our Fade Fit name registered in the States. Now we're officially registered and own the IP and all that. So if they were to do it now, you just get a cease and desist. You send them. But the hard thing is trying to find them. From what I've understood and looking into it, it's like it's kind of like organizational crime. It's very hard to find these people.
I'm sure it's just someone with a computer, God knows where, right?
Yeah,
and it's a few, I guess, a distribution network.
And it's just harder to find them. So yeah, but you know, I want to do the States. I want to do Australia. We signed a really big deal in Australia already. The handbrake came up on that because of just some regulations that Australia were looking at. However, I think we've just jumped that hurdle. We were meant to launch in August of 2025. We'll most likely launch in early first quarter 2026. I've got a big following in Australia, and every day I get asked, where are they? So yeah, and that's really cool for me. Like we're a Dubai manufactured snack, you know, before Fix Chocolate, which I love, and I love what they've done for us as a city and as a country to showcase what we can make here. You know, we were chipping away at it. We were like this little snack company just selling in different countries, and you know, we sell in Romania, and we do well in Romania. Like, you know,
why not, right?
Yeah, it's just like, you know, my dream is to have our products selling, you know, everywhere across the world and people enjoying a healthier snack. I really believe that that's the opportunity, and it stems as a family business right here out of Dubai from a little dream, and we're doing well.
I mean, I think so much, certainly here, but I think generally of what appeals about Fade Fit is the brand and the personal element, right? Your own personal story, your own personal journey. From your own fitness journey to obviously looking for healthy snacks for your kids. Like there's a real element there where the same way that people connect with you as a personality, they connect with the snack because they feel like it's something real, right? And I guess I wanted to ask you a little bit about that balance, because so much of what you do successfully is share, often in very candid ways, your personal life, your personal experiences, to get people to come along with you. But I imagine that has to be challenging if you also want to maintain a certain degree of privacy, right? So how do you do that? How do you continue to connect and be transparent with people, both for Fade Fit, just generally for your own personal career, but then also maintain that privacy in those spaces where you want it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance. I'm pretty open, though. I think if I had it my own way, I'd share even more.
Really?
I've got nothing to hide, as in, I'm okay. Like, you can know everything about me. I don't care. It's not because I'm...
Why do you think you feel that way? Because, I mean, it's certainly unusual, right?
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what other people think. And that's not out of me being egotistic or whatever, but I'm happy to share my life. Why? It does resonate with people. Once you have human connection with someone, they're with you for the journey. One of the reasons why our radio show is so successful is we share some pretty deep things. I mean, I talked about my divorce on radio a lot. even respectful to my ex-wife. It wasn't all shared, but there was some pretty deep moments in there. You start sharing those things with people, you start to connect with them, and then people they become part of your life. I was just at the shops literally an hour and a half before I arrived here, and this lady came up with me, and my dad was with me, and she came up with me, and she's like, oh my gosh, I love you, and she gave me this big hug. She gave me a big hug, and I gave her this little affectionate kiss on like the side of her face, like, I love that, thank you so much. She's like, I listen to you every morning, I follow you on Instagram, I love you. And I said, I love you too. And we took a quick selfie, and she walked off. My dad was like, you know her? I said, no. But she came up and she gave you this big hug, and I'm like, yeah, it's the connection that I have with someone. And even though we haven't met, and I get goosebumps when I talk about it, because I have that connection with so many people, and it's endearing. It makes me feel good. Like it weirdly enough, I don't know, it feeds my soul. And I get those interactions all the time, all around the world. Wherever I go, there'll be those people that will just come up and they'll just share those moments. And they'll say, I know this is stupid because you don't know me. And I'm like, you know what? I know I don't know you, but I share this with you because I share my deep like thoughts. I share my children. I share that my people have seen my kids grow up, my daughters. They've seen them from the ages of 1. Now they're 16 and 14. They've seen them grow up. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how they look. And they're seeing my son grow up. They've been with me through my journey through my divorce. They've been with me through my meeting of Brianna, my wife. They've seen my wedding. They go on holidays with me. People always say to me, like, when you go on vacation, why don't you shut your phone off? I'm like, you crazy? That's when I love to share. I'm not even working anymore. Now I'm just showing you my holidays. And people message me, Kris, I don't have enough money to travel. I travel through your eyes. Thank you. All the time. Thousands of messages say that. And I love that. Like, I get to share my life with you. That's basically kind of what my job is. Now, are there private moments? 100%. And as my daughters get older, I give them their privacy. I'll always ask them. I put a post up on Instagram, a pretty funny WhatsApp conversation between me and my 14-year-old, right? And before I posted it, I sent it to her. I said, can I share this on Instagram? She's like, why? I said, because I kind of find it funny, but I think it's really relatable. And she said, sure. I shared it. 5.1 million views in 2 days, right? Because it was relatable. Because it was my daughter wanting to go out, me as a father saying, what are you wearing? Send me a photo. She sends me a photo. I'm like, let me see the back of it. I want to make sure. Okay, approved. Then she's like, how much can I spend tonight at dinner? And I'm like, well, how much do you need? I don't know. Can I have your credit card? Right? And it was this little interaction between a father and a teenage daughter that resonated with so many people. In a positive way, but also resonate with people not in a negative way. How can you tell her what to wear?
How do your daughters still get excited about this? I mean, I feel like they grew up.
No, they
online,
hate it. They hate it.
Oh, okay.
They don't want it. They don't. They don't want to be on social right now. Not now. Occasionally they do, but if we're going out, they'll be like, Dad, are you going to be filming us? I'll be like, no. Then they'll just come out like wearing whatever. Dad, are you going to be filming us? Yeah, today we're going to be doing a film day. Okay.
They put in
an hour and a half. An hour and a half, the hair, the makeup. But I've also taught them now to be little mini entrepreneurs. So now they make money through social media, Do
you think they'll follow in your footsteps, start a business?
I don't know. But I had my 16-year-old, and again, I probably should talk to her before talking about this, but I'm going to tell you.
Just between us.
Just between us. No, because I don't think it's that bad. But she said, we've got open day at school about universities and colleges and what we want him to do. And she goes, Dad, I don't know what I want to do. And I feel like I'm the only one in the class that doesn't know what they want to do. And I instantly said, baby, that's me. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that's okay. You're 16 years old. How are you supposed to know what you want to do? Our average life is 80. We're supposed to know what we want to do at the age of 16. And I told her, like, that's okay. And I don't mind if you don't know what you do when I don't mind what you may not know what you want to do when you're 21 years old. I really believe education is an important thing. But what I don't like about it is that it teaches us to fail at a young age. I failed school. I felt like a failure at the age of 15. How are we allowing our children to feel like they're failing something at the age of 15, 12? You do an exam, 13, 14, you feel like a failure. I wasn't book smart. You give me something to read and learn, I can't. It doesn't sit in my brain. But let me tell you, the skills that I have that a lot of other people don't have, that's where I win. And I think that's what's given me the ability to do a radio show, a snack company, a fitness company, invest in a bunch of different, be a family. Like, that's why I can do that. And I know other people can't, but hey, they may have a 99% educational score that got them into the highest college in the world. So I'm explaining that to my daughter now. It's okay that you don't know what you want to do at the age of 16. You will fall into place. You will find that you will find your moments. You will find your dream. And I think that's something important for a lot of the young kids now. Don't feel like a failure because you're not doing great at school. Try your hardest, do the best you can. And that's what I tell my daughter every day. I want you to try your hardest. Don't be lazy. But at the end of the day, if you don't do well at school, you'll be okay.
I mean, I think, picking on what you're saying there, I think that idea of trying your hardest, just pursuing things in like a dogged fashion is something, as someone from the outside looking in would say is one of your secrets to success, right? I feel like you are very driven, committed, you are open to new ideas, you try new things, you do a lot of things, very busy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pick up on sort of, talk about balance from like a social to like private perspective, but on a personal perspective, how do you balance doing all that, still staying healthy as part of your Fade Fit brand?
Yeah.
And do you still deal with anxiety sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance all those things? What do you do to unwind? Like, how do you find balance in your life while still being able to do so much?
Okay, so everyone still does, including my mum, tells me that I do way too much. I don't believe I do. I believe I just wired probably different to a lot of other people. I feel like I'm better working. I feel like I'm a better person busy. I feel like I need to manage many things at one time. And if you are in my circle, there'll always be people going, how are you doing that? I'm doing a bunch of things. I'm on a WhatsApp message, looking after the kid, recording something over here. There's just a bunch of stuff going on, but I feel like that's me. I can do that. And it's not for everyone, but I feel like when I don't have anything to do, that's when I'm like, what's going on?
Is that when the anxiety hits?
It's not anxiety anymore. Thankfully, I feel like and for anyone that's gone through anxiety, when you start to be able to handle your anxiety, it's because you understand it and you allow it to do its thing. You don't fight it. You're like, I know you. Come and do what you want to do. And when you allow it to do what it wants to do, you realize it doesn't do it anymore because you're not fighting it, because you've just let it come in. But it allows my mind to think a lot more. And it starts like just when I'm doing nothing. And, my wife goes, you can't sit still. Like, why can't you just not do anything? I don't know. I'm wired differently. But, I'm doing a lot. And I'm mindful of how much I'm doing. I'm opening up a restaurant now here in Dubai.
When is that going to launch?
Well, from the time that we're recording this, it launches in a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So by the time this is out, actually,
it will
for
be
listeners,
out.
It'll be
Pepperoni Comedy Club, 1 Central. All right, we're an American-Italian diner with some of the best comedians in the world who are going to be performing at our comedy shop. And I've been able to open it up with a great friend of mine, Rezwan, who owns a huge company called Rikas. Enes Moore as well are involved. And I've got Gad El Mala and Redwan and a friend of ours. We're all together and we're creating some magic. And people are like, why are you doing a restaurant for? And it's like, I worked in cafes for 6 years. I always wanted to own my own cafe. This is my dream. Like, this is actually what it is. So I'm doing that. I'm doing my radio show. I'm doing Fade Fit. But when I launched Fade Fit, everyone, why are you launching a snack company for? Everyone. And they make you doubt yourself. But I guess that just made me want to do it even more. I always say there'll be people that will always tell you what to do, but they've never done what you're doing. How can you tell me what to do? You've never done what I've done. How are you going to sit here and tell me, do this, do that, do this, but you haven't lived one day in my shoes? You've never done a radio show. You've never done the life that I live. I'm not going to go and tell a heart surgeon what to do in the operating theater. Oh, man, I don't think you should be doing that. Why? Because I have worldly experience and I'm older than you? No way. So I feel like I'm very systematic. I'm up at 4:20 every morning. I'm in bed by about probably 10:15, sleeping by 10:45, and I go that whole day, every day I go. I've learnt, and this is something, I'm 45 years old now, and I've learnt only in the last 4 months that I do got to give myself more moments of my time having fun. And it's crazy. I've only shared this story with a few people, and I was with my brother in Las Vegas watching my friend Manny Pacquiao fight. He was fighting in Vegas. This was only like in July. And I was already in LA. My brother was there with me. I said, let's go to Vegas, watch the fight, and let's have some fun. And we did like a boys trip. My brother-in-law came. We did a 3-day boys trip in Vegas. And it wasn't wild, but I had like this moment of clarity where I'm like, whoa, I just had such a great time with my brothers. I don't do that enough. I work every day. I raise my daughters, and I've raised my daughters, a lot of it on my own. I've always been the one that I've got to be, I'm the responsible one. I'm the one that goes home at 9 o'clock. I'm the one that just, tells everyone to leave my house at 8:30, the party's over. Like, I'm the one that my wife will always tell me, why don't you ever want to go out? It's because I'm like, oh, because I know I'm working. But what that Vegas trip did for me is it opened up my mind to give myself more pockets of fun, more pockets for Kris, more pockets for me. And since then, I've traveled a little bit and I've done more things. And I've told my wife as well, like, I want to do more things that make me happy, because I feel like if you're going really hard, which is what I do, I go really hard, I work, I do this, I do that, that if I know that in 6 weeks from now, I've got 5 days in wherever, I'm cool. I'm working towards that, And I think like many of us, once you book that holiday, you've got that countdown on, and it entices me to do more. But I've just realized at the age of 45, like, life is short. I don't want to be 70 years old looking back going, why did I not do this? Why did I not? Recently I started DJing again. I haven't done that in years. And Craig David, the artist Craig David, is a friend of mine. He said, I'm playing in Ibiza. Why don't you come and play with me? Prior, Kris Fade, before Vegas, probably would have gone, it's a Wednesday, I can't, I've got work and I've got to do this and that and da. But now I went, I'm in. And so I flew out to Ibiza. First time I went, played this amazing set, had fun for 3 days with my mates, and came back going, that was an amazing trip. It fed my soul and gave me the energy to keep going. So yeah, now I've got the 70-year-old Kris Fade always in my head going, would he regret you not doing this? And if he did, do it.
Well, I guess we all need a 70-year-old Kris Fade or our version in our head telling us to do.
Yeah, no, but everyone should. Everyone, unless you're 75, you get someone who's 85, but everyone should have their older self looking back going, would you regret not doing this? Or would you regret doing this? And it really puts it into perspective. I really see myself as a 70-year-old. It's weird. Still got the braids though. Still got the braids.
Yeah, still full mental faculties.
Yeah.
Well, on that lovely note, thank you so much, Kris, for being with us. Obviously, wishing you continued success with the comedy club. Sounds great. I plan to visit.
Please.
Of course, hope the launch into the U.S. goes well. Success after success. Kris, such a pleasure.
Pleasure, man, and thank you so much for having me. Honored. Thank you.
Thank you.